the government is dealing with the first shutdown in about 7 years, after Republicans refused to negotiate in good faith over things like healthcare funding and or healthcare tax credits and Medicaid funding. Now, if you listen to Donald Trump or Fox News or any of those weirdos, you will come away with the idea that the shutdown is actually not the fault of the party in charge. No, it's actually the fault of the Democrats and the undocumented immigrants. Right. Look, that's obvious bullshit. I'm going to give you the facts about what's going on. Republicans control both the White House and Congress. In fact, they've got full control of the government. Okay. That said, they do need some Democratic votes in the Senate to approve any new spending measures. So Democrats want Republicans to extend some temporary Biden-era programs, right, that helped lower health insurance costs for more than the more than 20 million Americans that buy insurance through the ACA. They also want Republicans to undo some of the more dramatic cuts to Medicaid that the Republicans had enacted over the summer as part of Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. They also want to block the White House budget director, Russell Vought, from being able to unilaterally target congressionally approved funding. That would be a huge transfer of power from Congress to the executive branch. Okay? Now, Trump and Republican leaders, of course, they flat out refused to negotiate, refused to engage, even knowing for months that they were heading towards this shutdown. Okay? That they had a limit. Okay? They had a timetable where it's like, well, we're going to run out of funding on October 1st. We might, and we need to pass a budget. Yes, you do. That's literally part of your job. So now, we should probably negotiate, right? Because we need Democratic votes. No, let's not. Let's not. Maybe they believe that the Democrats would fold because, let's be honest, that's what Schumer normally does. Okay. But not this time, apparently. But, well, at least for now. Okay, at least for now. So, that said, this surprising show of backbone by the Democrats has led to Republicans falling back on, well, their, excuse of choice.
But if you look at the original thing they did with this negotiation, it was a $1.5 trillion spending package, basically saying to the American people, we want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care, while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation.
The proposal does not provide health care for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants cannot buy health care under the Affordable Care Act. They cannot receive health care subsidies. No. Illegal immigrants are ineligible for Medicare, Medicaid, and the Children's Health Program. The Democratic bill does not make them eligible.
It does, actually.
But I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance marketplace.
I'm so glad you said that. Actually, I have some tape of your Democratic Party members saying this on the debate stage. So they've all said it. Let's play the clip.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay.
Senator, that's literally every member of your party, from moderate to more progressive, that have said that in the past. I've seen them all on the table.
I beg to disagree with you. I have not said that in the past. In New Hampshire, we do not provide health insurance for illegal immigrants. We have never done that. And you're just wrong.
Bro literally had to go back to 2019, okay? And the hypothetical Medicare for All bill that most people on that stage didn't actually support, They had to go back to that to try to make their point of like, do you see, they want, all the Democrats want undocumented illegals to get health care. Oh my God. Weak sauce. Here's the thing. Undocumented immigrants, if they end up in the emergency room, it is required that they get treated like everyone else. That's right. You know why? Look, it's a major problem, okay, where the only health care that poor people as well as undocumented people can receive is in the ER. Like, that's a problem. Wouldn't it make sense to have everyone be able to get health care? I mean, it makes sense to me. But here's the fact. The Democrats are not shutting down the government to give undocumented people health insurance, okay? I mean, seriously. What it was is to save money for those who are on ACA plans, to help people that are on Medicaid, to restore that funding, which, by the way, includes Trump voters, okay? Democrats are literally trying to help Trump's own voters while Republicans are not. And so, I mean, that's why Republicans have to make up these lies about, illegals. They keep going back to that racist well. Because it works. It's effective. In fact, I'm going to show you here Carolyn Levitt being asked if hospitals should be required now to check the immigration status of patients.
Should ERs check for immigration status before treating a dying patient?
That's probably not a question for me to answer. I think that's a question for healthcare professionals and legal experts to answer.
I understand why I'm asking you. Because Republicans have been saying that Democrats want to give benefits to undocumented immigrants, even though it's against the law for them to get these benefits.
Let me ask you, do you think that illegal aliens should receive Medicaid benefits? Medicaid benefits that go to the most vulnerable people in our country. That Medicaid benefits that were designed to help low-income families and Americans in our country.
That's not a no. Okay, to that question. Which should have been a pretty easy question to answer. Okay, but this woman claims to be a big old Christian wearing a big old cross everywhere, is refusing to answer a question asking that if there was a person literally bleeding out in the parking lot that happens to be an undocumented immigrant, if they should be treated medically without question. Should be able to answer that question. You know why? Because even Ronald frickin' Reagan, who is the architect of so many of the problems that we are facing here today in this country, even that guy wasn't this heartless. He did, after all, sign the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act in 1986. It's a federal law that requires Medicare participating hospitals to provide medical screening, examinations, and stabilizing treatment to anyone with an emergency medical condition. Anyone. It states that hospitals cannot refuse or to examine or treat individuals based on their ability to pay or other factors like immigration status. And there it is. And again, speaking of Medicaid, right? She talked about Medicaid. Republicans were the one that cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid, none of which went to undocumented people. But it did go to poor Americans. So, yes, she is lying. They're all lying and are desperate to put the blame for this shutdown on someone else. They have even gone so far as to email federal employees. This is back before the shutdown happened. The day before, there was emails from federal agencies to their employees saying, oh, it's Democrats' fault. If it shuts down, it's Democrats. Here's what one said. President Trump opposes a government shutdown and strongly supports enactment of H.R. 5371. This is the administration had stated in identical emails sent by at least 4 different agencies. Unfortunately, the Democrats are blocking this continuing resolution in the U.S. Senate due to unrelated policy demands. If congressional Democrats maintain their current posture and refuse to pass a clean CR to keep the government funded before midnight on September 30th, 2025, federal approved appropriated funding will lapse, said these emails that were obtained by The Hill. They went on to say that each agency has a plan in place to prevent any lapse in appropriations by congressional Democrats. I mean, it's pretty clear who they're trying to blame here. All right. And so as a result of these, Public Citizen is a watchdog advocacy group, is suing Kelly Loeffler, administrator of the Small Business Administration, and Scott Turner, head of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, after they had put up literal banners on their websites blaming Democrats for the shutdown. That could, of course, be a violation of the Hatch Act, although I guess that really doesn't matter at this point because none of our laws are going to be enforced anyway if a member of this administration violates them. But still, Public Citizen called the move a highly partisan post targeting both employees and the public, asserting that congressional Democrats are solely responsible for the shutdown and causing financial harm to small businesses and the American public. Employees at the SBA and HUD were directed to set their out-of-office messages to a script blaming Democrats. In fact, the HUD message said this: "The radical left in Congress shut down the government. HUD will use available resources to help Americans in need." Yeah. This is what the Republicans are doing because they cannot defend their position. They cannot defend the fact that they pushed massive tax cuts for the rich, cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid, and are going to allow for millions of Americans insurance to go sky high. They cannot defend those positions, and so they lie. I only hope that the Democrats are able to keep making their case and do not fold to the GOP's bullshit lie campaign. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.